بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and Eid Mubarak. Today here is the 3rd of Sha'ban and this is the birth anniversary of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Inshallah it will be a very blessed and happy occasion for all Muslims and especially for you. If I receive confirmation about the quality of voice and video, then inshallah we can start our webinar. So as soon as I get it, inshallah, yes. Okay. As you remember, we've been talking about a beautiful wise saying of Imam Ali alayhi salam addressing Kumayl ibn Ziyad al-Nakha'i. And if you want to summarize the whole saying, we can say it is about the value of knowledge and the merits of the knowledgeable, the ulama. What we have discussed so far was, I start from the beginning, very quickly I read, يا كميل بن زياد إن هذه القلوب أوعية فخيرها أوعاها. O Kumail, the son of Ziyad, these hearts are like containers, the best of them is the one which has greater capacity. فَاحْفَظْ عَنِّي مَا أَقُولُ. So protect and keep what I tell you. النَّاسُ الثَّلَاثَةِ. People are one of the three groups. You can also look at the slide if you like. فَعَالِمٌ رَبَّانِي. The first group are the people who have knowledge and they are also very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are connected, devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second group is وَمُتَعَلِّمٌ عَلَى سَبِيلِ النَّجَاةِ. The people who have not reached the level of being considered as alim, as a person who is independent in his knowledge. He doesn't need to ask ordinary people. He doesn't need to check and find the answer for his question by asking other people. He himself can go back to the sources and applies proper methodology and find the answer, or he is inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he is not like them, but he is muta'allimun ala sabil najat. He is a learner, but in the right manner. A learner who is not confused, a learner who is not receiving his education and training from people who are not reliable or people who have no proper knowledge. No, he is a learner at the service of great ulama, great scholars, and uses proper methodology, devotes time and energy and attention. So he is day by day learning more and more. So if he continues like this, he would become one of the first group or very close to them. وَحَمَجٌ رَعَاء أَتْبَاعُ كُلِّ نَاعِقٍ. The third group, which would be the people who neither are alims nor learners, are the people who are like some flies, like some mosquitoes, for example. They just go to the direction that the winds take them, and they follow every call, every new ism, new idea which comes, new slogans which come, they go after it. يَمِيلُونَ مَعَ كُلِّ رِيحٍ. Rih means wind. And then Imam alayhi salam said, لَمْ يَسْتَضِيءُوا بِنُورِ الْعِلْمِ. They haven't acquired the light of knowledge. They haven't been enlightened with the light of knowledge. They remain in darkness. وَلَمْ يَلْجَأُوا إِلَىٰ رُكْنٍ وَثِيقٍ. And they have not taken refuge with a very solid and firm pillar, which is knowledge and knowledgeable people. So they are weak, they are vulnerable, they are very much subject to changes and to even damage and destruction. Now we want to start from the part that we didn't study. So far, alhamdulillah, we managed to study last week. Ya Kumail. This is second time Imam addresses Kumail. Ya Kumail. Al-ilmu khayrun min al-mal. O Kumail, knowledge is better than money, better than wealth. This is a very simple comparison, and perhaps many people even in the primary school have written compositions, about comparison between knowledge and wealth. But unfortunately, although the answer is simple, but unfortunately till end of our life we struggle with this comparison and with this contrast. And I am afraid to say that many of us would not be able to really give priority to knowledge when it comes to choosing either knowledge or wealth. Many people prefer to have both, or if not both, the wealth precedes. Why I say even having both is a problem? Because if you want to have knowledge and wealth together, then you would not go for the options in which you would have greater chance for having knowledge if the wealth is not there. You would limit yourself to the options that would give you both. We don't have problem with having wealth, but it shouldn't limit your options for learning. You should learn, you should be dedicating your life for learning, especially learning what makes you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then if as a side product the wealth comes, which normally comes at least to the sufficient level, that's fine. But if you say, I want to have only those options for learning that would give me wealth, then that's a problem. Or if you want to say, I only want wealth, again, that's a problem. So we should try to aim at achieving maximum amount of knowledge, and then on the side we should also try to be open to opportunities that arises for having enough of wealth. And Allah has guaranteed for everyone, especially for the seekers of knowledge, to provide them with sufficient means and resources. Okay, so this is Imam's answer about this very standard question about which one is more important, knowledge or wealth. Imam says, Ya Kumail, al-ilmu khayrun min al-mal. O Kumail, knowledge is better than wealth. Okay, this is Imam saying this, and even if Imam doesn't bring any argument for that, we would accept, because we know that Imam doesn't say anything in vain. But still Imam brings arguments so that you would be convinced, and this is the way that our Imams used to speak to people. They always tried to make people understand, not to give them just instructions, because they were instructors, but at the same time they wanted to make sure that people understand what is the basis for these instructions, so that if a time comes that they have no access to Imams, on the basis of what they were taught by Imams, they would be able to understand the instructions by themselves. This is very important. A good teacher is the one that not only gives good ideas, but also teaches his students the methodology and the way to come to solutions, so that if for some reason he is not with them, they can continue themselves. So Imam alayhi salam says there are reasons for knowledge being better than wealth. One is that al-ilmu yahrusuka wa anta tahrusul mal. Knowledge protects you. Knowledge keeps you safe. But when it comes to money or wealth, you have to protect. Money is something that you have to always be worried. You have to protect it in different ways. First, protect it against theft, against loss, against, fire, earthquake, natural disasters, against inflation, against drop of value, bankruptcy. So there are many different ways that our wealth is subject to loss, and you have to be very concerned about it. But what about knowledge? Knowledge is quite different. Knowledge would be taking care of you and protecting you. If you have knowledge, you can protect yourself. Indeed, even when you want to protect your money, you have to use knowledge. If you give lots of money to someone and he hasn't have knowledge, he would waste it, he would lose it. Knowledge is the main protector for you, for your health, for your family relations, business relations, anything successful in your life, any project, any effort that you have had, it was through knowledge, and to keep it, again, you need knowledge. So there's a big difference between what can protect you and what needs your protection. Al-ilmu yahrusuka wa anta tahrusul mal. Knowledge, in a sense, I'm not saying from every aspect, but knowledge in a sense is at your service. But why I'm saying in a sense? Because in another sense, we should be at the service of knowledge. We should be at the service of truth. But in a sense, knowledge is serving us because it brings all the benefits to us. But wealth is something that you need to be at its service. Yes, there are people who have wealth and their wealth doesn't preoccupy their mind, doesn't take their attention. It's something marginal for them. Their attention is on the things which are very important, but also they do some business. They are good actually in the business. They make money. They create opportunities for work for other people. They are very good in this, but it's not that day and night they are concerned about this. They do it as if it's a game. Their attention is somewhere else. That's different. But many people, accumulating wealth becomes a very big issue for them and preoccupies their mind. So then they would be at the service of the wealth. Like the people who have for example, very good car, very expensive car, then for whenever they drive, whenever they park, they are worried. If they want to, for example, park it somewhere to go to the mosque, they are worried, what happens to my car? Or if, for example, I don't know, if, for example, someone wants to borrow their car for an emergency, they are worried. Anyway, العلم يحرسك وأنت تحرس المال. The second is, let me change the slide. Yes. والمال تنقصه النفقة والعلم يزكو على الإنفاق. Another difference is that wealth would be reduced when you spend. By expenditure, it would be less. If I have money and I spend it on either charitable purposes or, for example, normal expenditure, I give salaries, I pay bills for business, or I spend on my family and my relatives, on my, I don't know, for example, health. So money is reduced, wealth is reduced. Of course, we believe that if you spend your wealth in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah Allah will give you back even in dunya. And for example, the people who give charity, even in dunya they will be given more. But generally speaking, this money is lost. Maybe Allah will give you more instead of that, but this is going away. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for example, if you pay something for going for Hajj, okay, we have in Hadith the minimum reward of Hajj is you will be given back this money. But that money literally is spent. Maybe another money comes back. And sometimes it doesn't come back. You spend, God forbid, $10,000, $20,000 on one operation. For example, you have a problem with your heart or your kidney, you spend lots of money. Okay, that's gone. Anyway, by using money, you would have less money. But what about using your knowledge? Is knowledge also spent in the sense that it is consumed? It becomes less. If I teach one person or 10 people or 1,000 people, would it be making any difference? When it comes to money, if I give money, for example, $1 to one person, so I have $1 less. If I give to 10 people, I have $10 less. If I give to 1,000 people, $1 to 1,000, so I have 1,000 less. But if I teach hadith to one person, do I lose anything? And if I make it to 10 people, would it be 10 times worse? Or 1,000 people would be 1,000 worse? No, at all. My knowledge is not changing. Indeed, Imam alayhi salam says, وَالْعِلْمُ يَزْكُو عَلَى الْإِنفَاقِ. Knowledge indeed becomes more when you teach people, when you pass on your knowledge even becomes better. You would not forget first. This is the first thing. If you have some knowledge and you don't use it, you don't share it, you may forget it. So first, you don't forget. Second, your knowledge can even increase. Many times it's during teaching and discussion and writing that you would have new ideas or new angles of the subject would come known to you. So knowledge is increasing. وَالْعِلْمُ يَزْكُو عَلَى الْإِنْفَاقِ. The third argument that Imam mentions is that وَصَنِيعُ الْمَالِ يَزُولُ بِزَوَالِهِ. Sani means product. What can be produced by money, what can be achieved by money, يَزُولُ بِزَوَالِهِ. When the money disappears, that also disappears. What you get through wealth disappears as soon as wealth disappears. What does it mean? It means that what you can achieve with your money is subject to loss. Money, as long as it remains as money, is a worldly affair. As long as it remains money, because sometimes with your money you do something which can remain eternally. For example, you use your money for making a mosque, a school, a hospital, help people to get married, help people to have education, you publish books, you do something good. That's different. That money is changed, is converted to another currency which works in the hereafter. But money as such, if you keep it and you don't convert it to something which would be useful in the hereafter, that is only useful in this dunya. It's like two different countries that they don't accept the currency of each other. So if you have currency of country A and then you take it to country B, they don't accept it. But if you transfer it to a currency that would be useful in the country B, or if you manage to buy with the currency of country A while you are there some properties in country B, then when you go there you have everything. Okay, so money, as long as it remains as money, is a worldly thing, and therefore, like anything in this dunya, is subject to destruction, subject to being expires. Everything in dunya expires. كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. Everything is finishing and expiring except the face of God. Anything which is given to God, everything which is facing God, that's different, that remains. ما عندكم ينفد وما عند الله باق. Everything is with us is expiring, but what is close to Allah, that's remaining. So if you make something with your money and it's remaining as a worldly affair, like you have lots of notes or I don't know, gold and silver, or a stock, or even properties, everything would be finishing. The maximum you can keep it is when you are alive. Can it remain for you after you die? it will be given to other people. You cannot benefit from anything of this dunya when you die. Even when you are alive, can you benefit from all your money, all your properties? No, many of them remains unused. But if you achieve something with your knowledge, then it would remain for you. Indeed, your knowledge is something that would be coming with you to your next station. An alim, when he dies with his knowledge. He doesn't go with his money. Money remains here, but knowledge goes there. And when you are resurrected as an alim, that's another issue. You know how great it is to be resurrected as an alim. We have this hadith in many sources, very beautiful hadith, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man hafiza ala ummati 40 hadithan." Whoever from my nation memorizes 40 hadith that they benefit from in their life, they would be resurrected on the day of judgment. بَعَثَهُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَقِيهًا عَالِمًا. Allah would resurrect him as a faqih, as a jurist, as a knowledgeable person. If you learn and memorize 40 beneficial hadith, 40 hadith that you have implemented in your life, you would be inshallah resurrected as an alim. And this is why many ulama have written books called Arba'in. It's 40 hadith, like Imam Khomeini, Sheikh Bahai, many other people. So imagine if someone, instead of having 40 hadiths, he has thousands of verses of the Quran and hadith and instructions and tafsir and everything. He's an alim like Allama Tabatabai, for example, or Ayatollah Mutahari. So what would be his case on the day of judgment? And there are many hadiths, beautiful hadiths, about the position of ulama on the day of judgment and how they would even intercede for other people. So knowledge is not something which is worldly and therefore remains in dunya and doesn't give you company. No, knowledge comes all the way with you and paves the way for your meeting Allah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah raises those of you who have iman, who have faith, and those who have knowledge in ranks. Some ulama say that, like Allama Tabatabai in first volume of Al-Mizan, he says that certain level of progress in the hereafter depends on iman, but then those who have iman after that, they make progress according to the level of their knowledge. According to this ayah, وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ دَرَجَاتٍ. They have different ranks depending on their knowledge. Anyway, صَنِيعُ الْمَالِ يَزُولُ بِزَوَالِهِ. What is produced and achieved by money would be lost when money is lost. Ya Kumayl ibn Ziyad. Again, Imam talks to Kumayl, addresses Kumayl. This is a way of keeping your audience, alert. You address them. Like, for example, even today, when someone gives a lecture, for example, in the United Nations, after every few sentences, for example, he says, for example, to the General Secretary of UN or the participants, he addresses them. So Imam keeps mentioning Ya Kumayl ibn Ziyad, Ma'rifatul ilm دين يدان به. O Kumail ibn Ziyad, knowledge, and this is very important, we say ma'rifah, because ma'rifah is a very powerful way of knowing something. Ilm is general. Any information about any subject is ilm. But ma'rifah has to be very strong, very powerful, very detailed, very personal. If I have heard about someone but I don't have any detailed information about him, I have never met him, I don't say I have ma'rifah of him. I say I have ma'rifah of someone if I know him in a personal way. So Imam says ma'rifatul ilm dinun yudanu bihi. It is a kind of deen. Deen, although we translate it as religion, but initially, literally, deen means a way of acting, a way of behaving. So knowledge is a kind of religion, a kind of behavior that you can act upon it. So it's a kind of thing that can become your lifestyle, a kind of thing that you can follow in your life, a guideline for your life. It's like a whole philosophy of life. You can act upon it, you can behave, you can make relations, you can make decisions based on this. يكسب الإنسان الطاعة في حياته وجميل الأحدوثة بعد وفاته. If you are alive, so during your life with knowledge, you can achieve obedience. So this either means that you can obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it means that you would be obeyed by people. Both are possible. There are two ways to interpret this. You would learn how to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also people would obey you, because people would obey the people who have knowledge. Of course, the people who have knowledge, they don't want people to obey them because of their own selfish interests. No, but they love people to obey them because they want to guide people. A great alim, a great teacher, he has no selfish, motivation here that, people should obey me. No. But as a teacher, you want people to appreciate what you say. You want people to take your direction. So if I tell people, please don't do haram, I like to be obeyed, because if I keep saying people don't do haram and then they do haram, I feel my energy is wasted. I feel I'm useless. So if you have knowledge, then in dunya people would obey you, as long as you are alive. Even sometimes after you die, still people keep obeying you. Like ulama that have passed away, we still follow their instructions. Even when it comes to taqleed, you may remain with your marja who has passed away, or according to some ulama, if your marja was more knowledgeable, you have to remain with him. But even if it is a matter of akhlaqi or moral lessons or other issues, we still benefit from their guidance. وَجَمِيلَ الْأُحْدُوثَةِ بَعْدَ وَفَاتِهِ. And when an alim dies, then he is always remembered and praised after his departure. How much we revere, we respect our great ulama who have passed away. So when they are alive, they are respected and obeyed. When they die, they are again respected, and in some cases, even as I said, it still can be they can be obeyed. But what about the people who have no knowledge? So even if they have lots of money, it's not necessarily bringing them respect. Yes, sometimes the people who have money, some people who themselves are interested in money respect them, but this respect is not a real respect. This is a respect hoping that they can gain something from them. But if they don't give them money, those people who were respecting them start blaming them. Or if they have, competition in business, they say all the bad things about each other sometimes. Or, they try to damage the reputation of their, competitors. I'm not saying everyone is doing this, but many times this happens. If it is only a matter of money, yes. If it is a matter of ethics and values, that's different. But if for someone everything is money, then they become sometimes very cruel. But this is not about knowledge. And then Imam alayhi salam says, this is the last sentence for today, وَالْعِلْمُ حَاكِمٌ وَالْمَالُ مَحْكُومٌ عَلَيْهِ. This is our last sentence for today. Knowledge is the ruler, is the governor. Knowledge is what is predominant, what has the upper hand, what can rule. وَالْمَالْ مَحْكُومٌ عَلَيْهِ. But money, wealth, is its subject. So knowledge is like the king, because knowledge controls you, gives you guidance. And then money is in your hand. So when it comes to the ranks, knowledge is the first. Knowledge is like the brain of the king, which is ruling a country. And wealth is one of its subjects. So the value is much more. If someone wants to invest, if someone wants to get power, recognition, he should try to make friendship with the ruler, with the king, not with a subject of the king. If it's a matter of priority, which one is better? If I can be in the mind and brain of the king, or I can be a subject for the king, which one is better? If I can be a minister of the king, or even someone who is advisor of the king, the one that king listens to him, or the one that has to listen to the king, which one is better? So al-ilmu hakimun wal-malu mahkumun alayh. Okay, let us stop here and answer some questions. Question 1. Assalamu alaikum Maulana. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. When related to Imam Kadhim and Imam al-Mahdi, salam, what is our role as Muslim locally and globally in face of current suffering in Ummah is facing? Yes, this was from last week. Of course, what we need to do is, first of all, to try to be a good believer. I cannot explain enough what is the value of being a good believer. A good believer is a source of light, a source of guidance, a source of hope and inspiration, a source of balance and moderation, a source of encouragement, a source of comfort and relief for those who know him or her. So if we are good believers in whom people can find the beautiful teachings of Islam and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, this is a great achievement. And on top of that, if we can have a group of believers like this working as a team, making a network, then it can have great impact on the others. If they can reach out to other people, communicate with them, share with them their understanding of Islam, their understanding of what is right to be done today, it can have great impact on other people. So I think our first responsibility is to educate ourselves, to equip ourselves with values, especially social values of Islam, to reach out to people from other schools of Islam or outside Islam, and try to build bridges, try to overcome prejudices, misunderstandings about Islam or about the school of Ahlul Bayt, and add to the respect that people give to the school of Ahlul Bayt and to the Shia community. And also we should be able to highlight some of the problems that exist in our own performance or some of our own people, and try to in a wise way address them and try to remove them, because sometimes we have problems from external sources, what our enemies do. Sometimes we have also problems internally. Knowledge is very important. Guidance of ulama is very much needed. Team working is very important. But the core is taqwa. The core is ma'rifah. Question 2. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. What knowledge is most important? If one pursues his interest in gaining secular knowledge, will he be answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is this wasted? Every knowledge is appreciated in Islam. Anything useful, whether it is secular or religious, is appreciated. But there are two types of knowledge. One knowledge is what everyone has to know. One knowledge is based on your interest. For example, when it comes to chemistry, physics, medicine, mathematics, we don't say everyone must know all of these things. Yes, up to some basic level, indeed, everyone should know something about these important sciences. But no one says that you have to specialize in all these sciences. It's up to you. You can become a mathematician or a physicist or a chemist or whatever. And it's very important. And Islam very much loves people who pursue different types of knowledge, secular knowledge, religious knowledge. Everything is appreciated. It's much better than remaining in a low level of knowledge. But when it comes to knowing yourself, knowing your Lord, and knowing what your Lord expects from you for your own progress, this is what everyone has to know. Until end of your life, you have to add to this knowledge. So, the most important, the most necessary type of knowledge is the knowledge that helps you in understanding yourself and your relation with your Lord, your relation with other people, and what you are supposed to do for the best of yourself and other people. So this is a knowledge which is necessary for everyone. Question 3. Salam Shaykh, alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. You mentioned about being on taqleed on a marja who has passed away, like Ayatollah Khoui. At what point we switch to a living marja, or do we still have to be the muqallid of the marhum marja, and how do we choose the next marja to follow? Thank you. Alaykum salam. Yes, when someone was in taqleed of a marja who has passed away, so normally our ulama say you can remain with him. And because this is universally accepted, so it's not controversial. But if you want to shift to a new marja. Here there are details and differences. Some say you can shift, which is the view of the majority, and some say you can only shift if the dead marja is not more knowledgeable than the living one. So if your dead marja, like for example in your case Ayatollah Khoi, is more knowledgeable than the one that you have today as a living marja, then some say you have to stay with him, like Ayatollah Sistani. So he says that you should remain with your dead marja if he is more knowledgeable. But many say no. So what should we do here? Either you should do ihtiyat, to remain with your dead marja, which would be accepted by everyone, either as an option or as a necessity. So if you remain with him, you don't have problem according to everyone. Or you have to find out who is among the living maraja the most knowledgeable. When you establish this through its own ways, that who is the most knowledgeable, then you ask him for advice. If the most knowledgeable among the living says that you must remain with the dead marja who was a'lam, you have to remain with him if he was a'lam. If he says you have choice, then you have choice. Or if after inquiring it becomes clear to you that your living marja is as knowledgeable or more knowledgeable than the previous one, then you can shift. So when our marja dies, passes away, we should identify who is the most knowledgeable one among the living and then act upon his view. If he says that we have option of remaining or shifting, so we can shift. If he says you have to remain if he was more knowledgeable, then you have to remain. So this is very logical, and it's is something that completely makes sense. Question 4. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam. What about if your field is technology? How can it help Islam? In all different disciplines, you can have some ways to help Islam. For example, if it is technology, one way is to use your knowledge to train other people, giving knowledge, giving technology to Muslims, Muslim countries, Muslim communities, even Muslim individuals to prosper, to develop. Is a good service, especially if this can be also established that Muslims are the people who can be among the first runners and pioneers in technology. This is a great achievement, and this would damage the stereotype that Muslims are not advanced in technology or knowledge, which is really not the case, because alhamdulillah in many cases, many disciplines, we find Muslim among the pioneers. The second thing is that we as Muslims should be able to offer models of technology which is at the same time moral and ethical, because for us technology is to be run and regulated according to values. We cannot have technology which is not concerned about environment. We cannot have technology which is not concerned about man's psychological and spiritual needs. Technology is not just to make our body comfortable. Technology is to make our soul also at rest. When it comes to designing, for example, machineries, designing housing, city planning, everything, we should have attention to environment, we should have attention to next generations, we should have attention to social issues, psychological issues, spiritual issues, family issues, children. There are many concerns that as Muslims we should have when it comes to technology, and this is very helpful for all humanity if we as Muslims, as Christians, as believers work together to offer models of technology which is very advanced, but at the same time is very concerned about these values. Okay, let us stop here. I hope that inshallah this great occasion of the birth anniversary of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and the inshallah coming ones, the birth anniversary of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam and Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, and then in the middle of the month Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif's birth anniversary would be all sources of joy and happiness for you and your family. If you have any problem in family, may Allah inshallah help you to solve that problem, and inshallah this would be a month in which our ill brothers and sisters would be healed, and the problems about lack of security and fear in some parts of the world would be inshallah stopped. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, forgive our brothers and sisters, and enable us to have maximum amount of knowledge and maximum amount of piety and taqwa. Please remember us in your dua, and hope to inshallah meet you again next week. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.